Turn 15 for Tracksuit Mafia. No reason not to stall till turn 16. Two-die blitz, double skulls. Final TRR gets spent. This will be a good hit. No TRRs left in the game. Gets a KO. Oh boy. This is brutal. 8 players been knocked off the pitch. Turn 16 for DI to Nuffle. Oh boy, there's a blitz a coming. What is that about? What is that? I have no idea what this is about. 3-die block with Boulder Dash with the black skill. Gets a stun out of it. That's going to be it. 2-2 will be the score of this game. We'll see if he tempts fate anymore. I certainly wouldn't. I would just score. I feel like this is Nuffle tempting you. Says, you want to take blocks? You want to take blocks? Good luck, buddy. Good luck. Take the block. You think he's really going to try to hand off? He wants to put the win in the fate of a 75%. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I am utterly speechless. Two-die blitz. Two-die wrestle blitz. That'll work. Let's go here. Let's follow up. There is the catch. Let's go. It's 1. That's 2. That's 3. 1-0. Take the work, take the bat, takes the lead.
Nice work.
Thanks, man. knocks the ball carrier. That's it. Turn 16 for Erectile Dysfunction. They've got a 2-die block coming back against Lisa Loeb, but it is an unskilled block. Oh boy, that's a good block. Wow. Scary stuff. A blitz against Avril Lavigne would do it. Here it is. It's fine. He'll blitz Mariah Carey instead, and that'll be enough. We're going to overtime, folks. We're going to overtime. Here it is, 1-1. Hank the Ranger says, hope to be back to defend my Dungeon Bowl championship this year. I hope so too. I look forward to it. What a game this has been so far. 1-1. Good job of keeping their defense intact here. Taking the blocks, keeping the defensive formation together. End this. Look at that! That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Passes the bomb to the thrower, and now the thrower is going to pass. Doesn't get intercepted. Wow! What? Holy moly! That's exactly what we were talking about. Pass to the thrower. The thrower knocks the ball carrier down. And now Shale, the Goblin, has picked up the ball. Absolutely marvelous. Now the werewolf is going to blitz as the block skill and mighty blow is going to get a push, but a frenzy follow-up to try to surf here. Well done. Well done by Penny the Ghoul. Gotta be careful of that frenzy surf. I know. I know. Not even with a frenzy, I know. Well done by Penny the Ghoul there. 3-man player advantage. Good knockdown by the right side. Fletch Golem, Mr. T. Turn 4. Final turn of the first quarter now. The Journeyman lineman stands up in front of the left side. Fletch Golem. Good dodge by Pony Malone. Jump up. Gonna try to surf this werewolf here. 1-die block. It's all they needed. Well done by Petting Zoo players. Oh no! Ah! Scooby-Doo! Where are you? Wow, a surf for a surf. Scooby-Doo dies. It's a Necro team. They don't have An apothecary failed the regen roll, and Scooby-Doo is just dead. Level 3. In this position, he's now... Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is a dodge that only succeeds on a 6. He got the 6 to the uphill block that will keep the drive alive. He got a POW and a defender stumbles result. The Ghoul has the dodge skill, so he's not going to get knocked down. How is that not a...
Already back to back. Yes, I'm running on a midnight train. Back to back. Conscience is swimming to the end. Back to back. Cannot let anyone do it again. Back to back. I can no longer pretend. Give me a break, you down. Just wanna get by my dad again. Lazy. What a heavy day.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second semifinal matchup here in the Dungeon Bowl. It is the Season 2 Championship competition. It's gonna be a good one tonight. I can't wait. I hope you can't wait too. Why is that so loud? SP Beaver, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Tonight, we've got Untitled Nuffle versus Pity the Ghoul, Clavius versus Dead Fred. It's gonna be Chaos Dwarves versus Necro. Man, oh man, what a game's gonna be. Let's take a look at the bracket before we look at the two rosters here. As you can see, this is the way the bracket shapes up currently. A Reptile Dysfunction PPFC defeated a Reptile Dysfunction in a very tense, very exciting match in the semifinals. They have eliminated a Reptile Dysfunction coached by Nick Satan. He will be league champion for a few more games, but PPFC has dethroned him. Somebody's going to be the new league champion after the Blood Bowl. The team that's going to come up against PPFC is going to be one of the two tonight. Untitled Nuffle, the current Chaos Cup champions, facing off against Pity the Ghoul, current Dungeon Bowl champions. Both coaches have gone undefeated in their respective championships this season. Rochelle K, 1994, thank you. Why? What? Oh, I've got this new theme. I'm looking at the chat. I'm like, why? Why can't I see your name? It's because it's Rochelle K. Welcome to the chat. Oh, I'll get it together. But Pity the Ghoul and Untitled Nuffle both won their respective championships this season undefeated with a record of 5-2-0 each, and they've only met each other one time this season, and the result of that matchup was a draw. It was a 1-1 draw, so it's going to be super exciting tonight. Two excellent coaches, of course. We are in the championship matchup, so you could expect no less, but man, look at these rosters. First up, we have Untitled Nuffle. They'll be the home team tonight, coming in at a TV of 1,700. They have a 12-player roster coming in tonight. Let's take it to kicks. Boo, SB Beaver. Boo! No kicks. I have decreed there will be no kicks. 12-player roster for Untitled Nuffle. Pretty solid Chaos Dwarf roster here. You can see they come with block as dwarves do. He's picked up a ton of guard, as you do as a Chorf coach. He has the 2 Bull Centaurs. He has the Minotaur as well. Level 2 Minotaur picked up Claw, and Mighty Blow, a devastating combination. 3 team rerolls, 1 cheerleader, 1 coach assistant, 8 fan factor, 1 oppo. He's going to be up against Pity the Ghoul tonight, coming in currently at a TV of 1440. He's got 1 player to level up. This is Dead Fred's team. That level up on Mayhem will increase his TV from anywhere from 20,000 to 50,000 gold. Pretty solid roster here tonight, but there's a big difference here, and you'll see it in just a second. So Pity the Ghoul has the 2 flesh columns naturally. The 2 whites, the whites are the Necro Blitzers. He has just 1 werewolf and just 1 ghoul. He's missing a werewolf, he's missing a ghoul. Rochelle K, I could have sworn I've seen your name somewhere in the Blood Bowl community and I just happened to be looking through the Blood Bowl 2 category. Well, welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy it. I love this game. I love watching Blood Bowl. I love commentating and participating. It's just a rad game. I love Blood Bowl. But yeah, so he's down a werewolf. He's down a ghoul. And that's a big loss for Dead Fred here tonight. He's by no means out of it. He's got a great roster still. He's got a ton of zombies though. A couple of them have leveled up. He has Tootie, has leveled up, picked up the guard skill. He has Cliff Clave, the number 6 zombies, picked up guard, picked up block as well. He's got a number of players with guard. He has Macgyver, that's the blodger. He has block and dodge. He has sure hands. He has that massive strength of 4 as well. He has the greatest American hero, that's one of the blitzers. The whites has a strength of 4. Pretty solid roster, right? He has a player with Mighty Blow. Again, Mighty Blow is very devastating. It gives you a +1 on your armor or your injury roll, whichever one you need it on. And he has another player with block. How are the 2 teams going to play tonight? He has 3 TRRs, of course. That's kind of the sweet spot where you want to be, both teams with the 3 TRRs. He's got the 2 flesh columns. They have strength of 4, they have stand firm. They're going to be exerting tackle zones. They're going to be eating up pitch and exerting pitch control as you do as a Necro team. He's got the 2 whites. They're his blitzers. They come with block naturally. They both picked up guard. One has a strength of 4, one has mighty blow. He wants to leverage that mighty blow as much as possible tonight. He has the werewolf, level 1 werewolf, but werewolves are great right out of the box. They have claw, they have frenzy. He can be chucking 4 block dice in a turn on average, and with claw, everybody he blocks has an AV of 7. So very, very good player, very fast as well, great stat line. And then of course you have Macgyver, who's level 4, leveled up very well. He's kitted him out very well, and is an excellent ball carrier. He just has to be careful. When he gets knocked down, he only has an AV of 7, an 8 plus could possibly take him off the pitch, but it's going to be really tough to knock him down. With block and dodge, there's only 1 face on the block die that will knock down Macgyver. So he's a natural ball carrier, and we will almost certainly be seeing him run this ball down pitch tonight. But he's up against Knee-High to Nuffle, who has no losses. Knee-High to Nuffle has Asterion, the number 12 Minotaur. He has Mighty Blow, he has Claw. You think Mighty Blow is bad. Mighty Blow plus Claw is terrifying. That gives you the +1 on your armor or your injury roll, and all AV is treated as if it is an AV of 7. This Minotaur is going to want to block as much as possible in this game, not to mention the fact that Minotaurs are wild animals. If they're not blocking, if they're not blitzing, then it's a 50-50 whether they get through that wild animal roll or not. Otherwise, a 2+ will succeed for them. They also have horns, they have mighty blow, they are terrifying big guys. And he is fresh and he is uninjured, unlike some other teams we've seen this season. Tracksuit something or another. He has the 2 Bull Centaurs, of course, very fast players. They have a strength of 4, very strong players. They have sprint and sure feet, so they effectively get 3 more spaces of movement if they want a GFI, but they're going to get a reroll on a GFI. So they're very, very fast. You can't count them out. Lots of lots of AV on a Chorf team. Naturally, the Hobgoblins only have an AV of 7, but he's only fielding 3 of them on this roster of 12. One of them's leveled up. He has sure hands. He's probably going to be the ball carrier. Interesting pickup on Dobby. He's had this for a little while now. We haven't seen Knee-High to Nuffle since the was it the Spike Magazine trophy? No, we saw Knee-High to Nuffle in the Dungeon Bowl. We saw Knee-High to Nuffle in the Dungeon Bowl. Dobby has Wrestle. Wrestle's a pretty good skill on a fragile player. Just as Clivey says, Wrestle was a huge mistake on Dobby. I don't think so. I think Wrestle's a pretty decent skill on a player that has an AV of 7. Wrestle means that if you have a both down result, you can choose to knock both players down, but make no armor roll. That's very good for a player that is brittle, right? A player with an AV of 7 or less, you pick up Wrestle, you can keep him on the pitch longer. If you keep a player on the pitch longer, you've got more tackle zones on the pitch. So I think that's a pretty fair pickup. But man, all this block, all this guard's going to be really, really tough to beat for Pity the Ghoul, I think. And Pity the Ghoul being down 2 positionals, really tough position for them to be in. They are by no means out. But I think tonight, whoever wins is going to be the one not who necessarily plays the better game against their opponent, but the one who plays the better game against their own list. So if Knee-High to Nuffle plays a better Chorf game than Dead Fred plays a Necro game, I think Knee-High to Nuffle comes out on top, with the caveat, of course, that Dead Fred's got a little bit more of an uphill climb being down those 2 positionals. He is going to pick up, he's not going to quite pick up 260,000 in petty cash. He'll pick up 240 at most. That's still a pretty hefty sum, right? 240,000 gold in petty cash in the inducement phase can pick up a whole bunch of stuff, and he has 120k in the bank. He can kind of pick up whatever he wants. Man, I'd love to see a wizard. I'd love to see a wizard. I don't know if that's the best pick for him, but certainly not bad, especially in this version of the rules. Wizards are very, very strong. Almost always a good pickup, but he's got options. We'll see what he wants to do. We'll see where he wants to take it. I think those inducements, those are going to be what brings Dead Fred up to par. That's generally what the inducement phase is for. But I really think because of those inducements, whatever he picks, both teams are just going to have to play their list better. Clypeus is going to have to, on offense, you'll see him using that guard and that block to open up holes and just slowly plod down the pitch. On defense, he's going to use that guard to set up that screen. He's going to have his faster players in the secondary to try to screen out the pass. Pity the Ghoul and Dead Fred, he's going to be using those flesh golems to lock them in place, to exert tackle zones, to try to open up lanes for his offense. He's got the whites to try to take players off the pitch. He has that werewolf who's chucking, two die blocks. He can surf very easily. You have Macgyver, of course, who's very, very difficult to knock down as well. We'll see what happens. 8 fan factor apiece. No advantage here going into the start of the game. It's going to be down to the D6 roll for the fame advantage. We'll see if both coaches are ready to go, and we'll get this semifinal matchup underway. Looks like both coaches are in Discord. Man, I am so hyped for this match. I am so hyped. The first semifinal match was amazing. The runner-up bracket was amazing. This whole season has been so much fun. I love this game, and everyone's been playing so well. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary as a competitor, but man, as a fan of the game, super fun to watch. Like he says, we're having a minor tech issue starting here in a moment. Fair enough. So yeah, Knee-High and Nuffle, Chaos Cup champions, they won that undefeated. We saw Pity the Ghoul stomp through the Dungeon Bowl, also undefeated. They came up through Division B, won 5 of their matches, drew 2, lost none. Reptile Dysfunction, Nick Satan's team, and PPFC, those were both Lizard teams. We had a Lizard versus Lizard mirror match in the semifinals here. That was super fun to watch. That was a run back of the Spike Magazine Trophy Championship where PPFC lost that one. They've now come back through the lower bracket in the Blood Bowl to defeat a Reptile Dysfunction and advance to the finals. SP Beaver says, yeah, the league has been downhill since our first tournament in season 1. Not just saying that. That's the last time I won something. Yeah, well, maybe downhill for win percentages, but it's been uphill in terms of skill, in terms of hype. It has been such an absolutely fantastic season, and I am so looking forward to season 3 already. I know we're not done with season 2, but man, it's been a blast. It's been such a blast, and watching, I say it time and again, but watching coaches play Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl is a game that has so much agency to it that people have the ability to play in their own style. You have so many different races to choose from, so many different rosters to decide to have for those races, so many ways you can kit out those players, so many different strategies and tactics you can employ, and that gives you your own playstyle. We've seen that all season long, right? How can we forget Artificial Bunny's undead, or not undead team, Underworld team? That was nuts. Passing around bombs, knocking down the ball carrier wherever he was. That was amazing. It was so much fun to see. We've seen these Lizard teams dominate. We've seen people come up with ways to subvert these Lizard teams. They've been hunting those skinks. We saw. Oh man, do you guys remember Take the Wood, Take the Bad? What an elegant Wood Elf team that was. Just an absolutely beautiful team. I really can't think of anything they've done wrong whatsoever. Really just the pinnacle of Blood Bowl was that team, in my opinion, in fact. Thank you very much. We saw Doug the Minotaur's Dark Elf team just pull some mad shenanigans, just like, wow, excellent positioning to pull off some crazy plays. Oh man, Blood Bowl. Not so trusty Patches says the most elf team. All right, we're still waiting for this game to get underway. There's a pretty sizable bit of the inducement phase that needs to happen here. Remember that well, you know what? While they're doing that, why don't we see if we can sneak in and see what Dead Fred picked up here. 1460. What did he pick up on Mayhem? He picked up Block. Not a bad pickup at all, especially in these zombies. These zombies, they are super cheap. but they're not really all that bad. They're not fast, of course, but their stat line's not too bad. AG of 2, so what? They're not carrying the ball, but they have a respectable AV of 8, and they have that strength of 3. They can really put in some work, especially when you just need to exert tackle zones or you need to tie up a player or something. So while he's missing 2 positionals, these zombies aren't so bad. They're just not too shabby. All right, the semifinal match about to get underway. Let's go. Let's go. I'm excited. I am excited. Let's see what the weather looks like. Oh, it's a rainy day. This is going to impact Pity the Ghoul more than it impacts Knee-High to Nuffle. Not sure who's on defense to start. Looks like it might be Pity the Ghoul, but they've picked up Wilhelm Cheney. Oh, he's got his second. Oh my goodness, he's got 2-star players. So he went with Wilhelm Cheney. That's his second werewolf. I think that's a great pickup. But more importantly, well, maybe not more importantly, equally as important, he has picked up. He's picked up a loony. He's got a chainsaw on the pitch. Looks like he's going to field this loony here in the first drive. The loony, of course, is a secret weapon. That means he's only got 1 drive to be on the pitch before the ref wisens up and says, wait, is that a chainsaw he has? He can't have that. That's illegal. Get off the pitch. Let's see who's picked up the fame advantage. Knee-High to Nuffle pick up the fame advantage. So far, Nuffle favoring Knee-High to Nuffle. It's in their name, right? It's in their name. They are Knee-High to Nuffle. Pity the Ghoul going with his standard narrow defense here. He has a 3-man line. You have to put at least 3 players on the line. You can put a maximum of 2 players in either wide zone. Everything else is fair game. SP Beaver says loonies are fun to watch. They're fun to watch get knocked out. Oh, it looks like the loony's coming off the pitch. Fair enough. Fair enough. So you can see he's picked up that werewolf. He got that second key werewolf. I think that was a smart pickup here for Dead Fred. SP Beaver, thank you so much for the gift sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Knee-High to Nuffle setting up on offense. Currently with a 5-man line, he's probably not going to leave it that way. He'll want to block down this line for sure, and then he's going to try to figure out where he wants this ball to go and whose hands he wants it to be in. If he wants the ball to be in the hands of the Bull Centaur, then he'll put the Bull Centaur in the backfield. He'll need a few turns to pick it up. He only has an AG of 2, but that might not be in play here with the rain. He's going to get a -1 on his pickups with an AG of 2. That's going to be rough. So it looks like the ball carrier is going to be Robin Roundcap here for this first drive of the game. He's going with a 7-man line here. 2 players in either wide zone. Remember, these Bull Centaurs are pretty fast. They have an MA of 6. They can move 3 spaces on a GFI instead of 2. And, of course, they get a free reroll on one of those with their sure feet. The Ranger says, getting here late. Anyone die yet? Not yet, but welcome to the stream. 30 seconds to go to set up here before this semifinal matchup. Not So Trusty Patches says, that is an aggressive line. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. So he wants to block down the line, of course. But remember, he's a Dwarven team effectively. Not effectively, he is a Dwarven team. So he's just going to try to march this line down pitch. Oh no, Mayhem. He just leveled up. He's going to take a rock to the face. And he is KO'd before the game even begins. Turn 1 now to Knee-High to Nuffle. 1-man player advantage. Holy moly. Someone has indeed been praying to Nuffle. Knee-High's going to take these blocks on the line. They're going to move this line forward. They're going to cage up probably at center pitch, and then they're just going to start whacking on people and trying to move this ball down pitch. Second 2-die block on the line is going to be another push result. That's all the blocks for this first turn of this semifinal matchup. SP Beaver asks, did he take the loony off the pitch? He did indeed. He's going to save it for a future drive. 1 minute, 20 seconds ago here in the first turn of the game. Clive is traditionally using up most of his clock here to really make his decisions, decide where he wants to go here. Big part of Blood Bowl is taking your least risky actions first, your more risky actions later, but of course, better coaches understand this and they try to put you in a position where you're incentivized to take more risky actions first. The reasons you want to take your least risky actions first is because if you fail a die roll, it is almost always a turnover, meaning your turn is over. And if your turn is over and you've only taken one action, then you've wasted a whole bunch of actions and you can probably find yourself in a really bad position. Tara Windy you says, why oh why is Looney profanity filtered? I will tell you why. Because when I set that filtering up, I couldn't be bothered to figure out where the level would be. So I said, just set it to whatever. we'll allow things one by one until eventually everything gets added to the permitted terms list. 3 die blitz on the left side of the line here. He's going to get a knockdown. Remember, with Frenzy, you have to follow up. If it's a push, you take a second block. That can be both a bane and a boon. SP Beaver said, wait, that censored me? No, it did not censor you. Good pickup. 4+ pickup here was a 50-50 due to the rain. And now he's got it picked up. It's going to move behind number 8 here just for a little bit of protection. And now turn 1 to Pity the Ghoul. Oh, did I miss one? Did I miss an allow somewhere? I'm sorry. Tara, to you. If I missed your message, I apologize. Pity the Ghoul marking the Bull Centaur on the right wide zone. You can see Clypheus here. He used this Minotaur, came in for the 3-die blitz, and the Minotaur had to move up. But what he's trying to do here is he's trying to start picking off players. If he can pick off this Flesh Golem, in other words, if he can split the Flesh Golem off from the defense so that he is behind the offensive line, he can effectively be taking out of play for the rest of the drive. Blitz with the Star Werewolf gets the POW. Doesn't break armor. AV of 9's pretty significant, but still gets the knockdown. That's a decent knockdown. Remember, when you're knocked down, to stand back up, it costs 3 MA. So even if you get nothing else out of a knockdown, you're eating up 3 MA. And in the case of a Bull Centaur, that's half their movement. In fact, knockdowns are fairly powerful against this Chorf team, period. Look at the Dwarves. They only have an MA of 4. Moves Wilhelm back into position to try to keep him a little safe behind the defensive line. 2-die block over on the left side of the line now gets the POW. It's going to be really tough to take these Dwarves off the pitch, but he's going to try anyway. The pass is not really a threat, especially not in the rain. But even if it was a bright sunny day for this game, pass is not a threat with this Chorf team. They don't have a passing game to speak of. That doesn't mean they can't pass, of course, but it means they most likely will not. 20 seconds left in the first turn. Very shallow secondary here. Again, he doesn't have to worry about the pass. He might need to worry about marks, though. 10 seconds. Moves the other werewolf, the level 1 starter. Moves him back 1 space, and that'll be it. Turn 2 to Knee-High to Nuffle now. Stands up number 7, Cantankerous. Moves him over to the left wide zone. This could betray the direction he wants to move here. We'll see. 2-die block at the line. Gets a POW on George Jefferson. He's moving on down. He's going to break armor. Gets a stun. Well done. 2-die block at the line. It's going to be another knockdown. This time against Cliff Clavin. Follows up. 2-die block again against number 7, Tootie. Follows up as well. These dwarves, this is what they do. They're not very fast, but they've got lots of guard. They all come with block, and at this point in the season, lots of guard. You can see Stand Firm at work there. That was a push result. Mr. T elected to stay put. That means he doesn't get pushed back. He's going to stay right where he is. Those flesh golems, very, very excellent tools for exerting pitch control. They can stay in place. They have a strength of 4, and they just exert tackle zones. They shore up holes. They shore up gaps. They take entire sections of the pitch out of play for a running game. Knee-high to Nuffle crosses the line of scrimmage. They're now on Pity the Ghoul's 2-yard line. Looks like they're going to cage up here. Blitz still on the table. SP Beaver says Knee-high seems to be playing very aggressively. He's played pretty aggressively, I would say, in the second half of the season. Not so trusty Patch says, seems risky to bring the ball up already. Yeah, we'll see if he can defend it here. He does need to be careful of these werewolves. He needs to be careful of the corners of the cage as well. He's not going to be able to get 4 corners. Probably not even going to get 1 corner unless he's going to pull back the Minotaur here. But can't do that with Stand Firm. Wow. Wow. Mr. Rogers says, let me tell you a story. Hang tight, buddy. I've got a tale to tell you. 21 seconds remaining. That's it. Turn 2 for Pity the Ghoul. So Pity the Ghoul doesn't really have an open lane to the ball carrier yet, but we'll see if he wants to encroach or if he wants to reset. Pity the Ghoul's run in the Dungeon Bowl was very, very impressive. We got to see this Necro team fill out from TV 1000 all the way to the devastating team it ended up being in the Dungeon Bowl. He is the current Dungeon Bowl champion. I think every single coach in the league fears, or at least feared, his 2 werewolves. His 2 leveled werewolves before they both died. Rest in peace. One full minute of play with nothing here by Pity the Ghoul. And now we get some action over in the right wide zone. He moves Roscoe P. Coltrane forward, the number 3 white, to mark uninsurable. SP Beaver says, yeah, let me tell you, do not take them all in a claw v claw match. Here's, wow, 2-die blitz by Wilhelm. He gets a frenzy follow-up here. He was looking to take out this key player here, this Bull Centaur. He gets pushes instead. Oh, is he thinking about re-rolling it here? He's thinking. Decides not to, and I think that was the right call. He's going to have to follow up here. He's got some movement. We'll see if he wants to dodge this werewolf out of the way or not. Werewolf's going to stay put. 2-die block gets the POW back at center pitch. We'll get a chain block out of this. Not so trusty Patches says the rain sounds are wonderfully soothing. Yeah, that and the sound of broken bones too. Let me tell you, just relaxing and comforting, really. Two-die block over on the left side of the pitch. This time gets another POW. This is against Briar Rose. He's a level 3 blocker. He's looking for a 10 plus here. He's not going to get it. Gets the knockdown, follows up. Two-die block. Another POW. This time Mr. Rogers taking down Cantankerous. Breaks armor. Gets a stun. Remember, there's a one-man player advantage for Knee-High and Nuffle currently. Riker moves forward. So give an assist on this block, gets a push here. Macgyver gets the push on Jubilant. Macgyver probably going to stay put. Yes, indeed. 14 seconds remaining in turn number 2. That's it. Turn 3, back to Knee-High to Nuffle. Clypeus already crossed the line of scrimmage here. It's turn 3. Pretty out of the ordinary for this team. But that's fine. He's being very aggressive with his offense here, and that's what he wants to do. They're very slow. You want to take what you can when you can with this team, because you never know when you're going to stall out. SP Beer says, what's the point of 3 rerolls if you're not going to use them to try for a pal? Two-die block. It's the knockdown on Mr. T. Mr. T's stunned. That's a great stun for Knee-High to Nuffle. We'll see if he can capitalize on this. He still has his blitz in play. Might see a stand-up blitz against Cliff Clavin. We'll see. We'll see what he wants to do. He doesn't have to. Could try the block with his Minotaur, the big guy here. It's a little risky, though. Big guys are all loners. That means if they have to re-roll, then you have to roll a d6 first. And it's a 50-50 whether you get to use the re-roll or not. Regardless, you have to spend it. So you tend to not want to re-roll with them. And if you are going to roll dice with them, you want it to be later in the turn if you can at all help it. Breaks armor, gets a KO on Roscoe P. Coltrane. 2-man player advantage for Knee-High to Nuffle. Wow. Second player out for Pity the Ghoul. Took a block on the star player here, Wilhelm Chaney. Got the both down results. He had to choose it. He had the skull otherwise. But Wilhelm said, you know what? I don't want to roll the armor break. I have an AV of 8. You have an AV of 9. I'll take the wrestle skill. So we'll both go down. There won't be an armor roll. And you can keep playing your turn. And there's that failed wild animal. Asterion failed the wild animal roll. Even though it was a 2, he was taking a block. Rolled the 1. He's going to stay put and just growl angrily at the sky. Not so trusty Patches says, I'm so used to faster teams. Moving up so early is totally alien to me. SB Viewer says, I need to borrow Clypeus' armor breaking dice for my next game. You had a very scary chaos team. It was terrifying, let me assure you. 14 seconds remaining in turn 3 for Knee-High to Nuffle. Trying to decide where they want this ball to end up. They might stay put, they might shift. Takes the 1-die blitz, gets a push out of it. Very tough to take down the guy, Macgyver. Took a shot, fair enough. Moves Oblivious over to the left. He's got to move the ball forward. Moves the ball forward to the 4-yard line. That'll be the turn. Turn 3 back to Pity the Ghoul. SB Beaver says, time for the uphill blitz. Yeah, no. Dad Fred deciding what he wants to do here with the defense. He's down 2 players. He's in a fairly good position to reset his defense if he wants. I don't think he really needs to. He could go aggressive if he wants to. Needs to be careful of this hole here, right? Again, you can see Clypeus trying to open up this lane, split off players in either direction. One minute, 3 seconds remain here in turn number 3. Pity the Ghoul. Dead Fred really taking his time, deciding what he wants to do. I think that's prudent. I think that's fair. Takes a mark against uninsurable in the right wide zone. $45 now. Still has the blitz. Here it comes. Stand up blitz. Good dodge. Takes a 2-die blitz. Gets a push here. We get the push and the follow up. Uphill follow-up double skulls. Double skulls. Is he going to attempt the reroll here? He did. He said, I can't afford this. Failed the loner roll. All star players. Oh, no. Oh. We talked about how Frenzy can be a boon or a bane. Had to take the follow-up block there. It was an uphill block, got double skulls. He wanted to re-roll it and couldn't get past the loner roll. And that is the end of the turn. Turn 4 now for Knee-High to Nuffle. Not so trusty patch says big swing. Indeed. 2-die block. Bashful versus Cliff Clavin. He's going to get the knockdown here. He's going to try for some yardage. Probably wants to save that blitz for a key player. Might try to go after the square wolf. Gets an injury. Wow, against George Jefferson. Broke armor. 4-man player advantage. Oh, and he's out for the game. Out for the game. 4-man player advantage for Knee-High to Nuffle now. Two-die block. Do that mark over on the right side of the pitch, over in the right wide zone, gets a push. Dead Fred picked up that star werewolf. I think that was a good pickup, but couldn't keep him on the pitch. He is out. Darwin D says, need to send Cliff Clavin home to his mama too. Not so trusty Batches says, looking good for Clypeus now. It is indeed. He's in pretty good shape here. He has the momentum. He has the ball. It is it's his drive to lose really at this point. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't try to stall this out. We'll see. Maybe fortunes could change. 2-die block gets a push. 2-die blitz, rather. Stays put. Wants to keep the Bull Centaur free. That's a key part of Bull Centaur play. They only have an AG of 2. So while they are strong and they are fast, they're very easy to lock down. They're not going to dodge away with an AG of 2. So you tend to not want them base to base with an opponent. Moves Boulder Dash back 1 space. Pulls John Romita Jr., the number 8 Hobgoblin, back over to the left side of the pit, or left side of center pitch, rather. Really, he's dead center in the middle of the pitch. 2-die block is going to get a knockdown here against Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers looks like he might be electing to not use Stand Firm. Broke armor, gets a stun. So Dead Fred elected not to use Stand Firm there. All skills are optional unless otherwise stated. Tried to move the Bull Centaur here, failed the Wild Animal roll. If you're not blocking or blitzing, it's a 2+ to succeed on Wild Animal. Otherwise, it's a 4+. It's a 50-50. Final turn of the first quarter now. Pity the Ghoul, down 4 players. Can they reset their defense here and try to stop this run? It's going to be very difficult. They might need to switch gears and apply pressure, But they can't do it haphazardly. You don't want to lose more and more players. You can see Knee-High to Nuffle has picked off Mr. T. Very close to picking off these two players as well. Picked off Tootie as well over in the right wide zone. This is indicative of Clyface's play. If you can take these players off the drive, if you can get players between where your opponent is and where he wants to be, they're effectively out. I mean, they can still take blocks, they can still move around, of course, but you've basically taken someone off the pitch without taking them off the pitch. You now have so much more pitch control, and you have more options on where you want to be and when you want to be there. Into the Ghoul once again, really considering options here. He's down so many players on this first drive. He's going to take another mark against Uninsurable. Looks like he's going to blitz Uninsurable here. 2-die blitz. Gets the POW. Deciding where he wants to push. He's going to push him straight back. Well done. Has plenty of movement left with Riker. Moves him back into the secondary. Took a shot. Took a shot at Uninsurable. Didn't work out, but he gets the knockdown still. Not so trusty Patches says, pity the Ghoul. Gets a both standing result in the left wide zone. 10 seconds left for Pity the Ghoul. Looks like it's the end of their turn unless they want to move Tootie. They are going to move Tootie back into the secondary. Tootie playing safety now. And that'll be the end of the first half. The first quarter. Second quarter begins. Turn 5 for Knee-High to Nuffle. They have a huge lane right in front of them. They're going to take a block on Mr. T. Mr. T is going to get knocked down. That's going to free up Boulder Dash. Knee-High to Nuffle with all of their team rerolls remaining. Yeah, and this cage is just going to hustle down pitch. It's going to move down to the 12-yard line. SB Beaver said, if only the werewolf had leap. If only. Ball carrier crosses over in the left wide zone now. Whoever wins this game will face off against the Pips Pippy fan club, the Lizard team, coached by El Nubarino, in the finals match to determine who the season champion will be. Boulder Dash, the level 3 Bull Centaur, is going to be the back right corner of this cage. Blitz still on the table. Over a minute to play here for Knee-High to Nuffle. Here comes the blitz. Just barely got that wild animal roll. Gets the POW on the greatest American hero. Gets a knockdown. And the Minotaur will close up this tight cage. No wizard in play, so this is fine. Ken Tankers is going to move to the right side of the cage to exert some tackle zones. He's exerting tackle zones here. Nobody can move through here freely. Gets between Cliff Clavin and the ball. And he's going to mark Mr. Rogers and the greatest American hero. 2-die block now against Cliff Clavin. He's going to get a knockdown. He's looking for a 9+. Doesn't get it, but the knockdown's fine. That'll be it. Turn 5 coming up for Dead Fred. Just 2 rerolls remaining for Pity the Ghoul here in the first half. They stand up Mr. T. We talk about doing your least risky actions first. Standing up requires no die rolls. SB Beaver says starts the turn with just 3 players standing. Oh, I know that feeling. I know the feeling of starting the turn with 3 players on the pitch. Moves Tootie to mark the front right corner of the cage here. Looks like he might be trying to blitz down Jubilant. This team is very, very slow. He is in scoring position currently. If he, well, he's not in scoring position, but if he hands off, he could be. Probably not going to do that, though. If worse comes to worse, he'll probably set up a half cage. Oh, I'm sorry. The Hobgoblin has the ball. You're absolutely right. 1 GFI to score. I thought it was a dwarf. You're absolutely right. 1 GFI to score. He's not going to do it, but he is in scoring position. Not so trusty Patch said, with Wood Elves, all you needed was 3 players. Oh, that's more true than not. Takes a mark on the front left corner of the cage. Blitz still on the table. 26 seconds left in turn number 5 of the semifinal matchup. Oh, he GFI'd. He GFI'd. He's going to spend the reroll here. Wanted to mark the back right corner of the cage. If you're unfamiliar with GFI, GFI stands for go for it. You can move your full movement allowance on your turn. In this case, it was a 6 for the Greatest American Hero. You can also move up to 2 extra spaces with skills that can modify that. But for each space, you have to roll a die. And each space is called going for it. And if you're not familiar with odds, that's all right. I'll take care of it for you. GFIs fail approximately, if you do the math, 900% of the time. GFIs fail 900% of the time. You will fail 9 GFIs 100% of the time. They actually fail on a 1. Certain weather conditions, like a blizzard, can make that actually fail on a 1 or a 2. Number 6 now. Number 6. Turn number 6. Double pow here on the mark on the front right corner of the cage. Knocks down Tootie. SB Beaver, thank you for the bits. Terrorwind to you graciously lowered the GFI failure rate from the Games Workshop legal 900% to a paltry, a meager, a tiny, minuscule 99%. Terrorwind to use as legal. Meh. That's all right. It's our league. We can do whatever we want. 2-9 block. You know, push over on the right side of the drive here. Pushes out Cliffclave into the right wide zone. Two-die block on the Greatest American Hero is going to be another push. SP Beaver says, with enough bribes, everything's legal in this game. Yes, indeed. He's going to follow up here. Keeps the mark on the Greatest American Hero. He doesn't want the Greatest American Hero coming in for a blitz on wherever the ball carrier is going to end up being here. Remember, Dead Fred still has a loony on the sideline here. Still has a loony warming the bench. He'll come out in all likelihood in the next drive. Looks like Knee-High might set up a half cage here on the left sideline. Minotaur blitz. 3-die blitz gets the pow on Riker. He's trying to take this second werewolf out. He does not. A good call. Nope, instead he's going to keep the lane open. Will he GFI to score? Looks like he won't GFI to score. It looks like he's going to try to keep the ball carrier safe, and I think that is fair game. He wants to eat up as many turns here in the first half as he can. SP Beaver says, is he going to have to take the loony out for just 1 or 2 turns? Oh no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. He's down 4 players. Unless he gets a player back Unless he gets, let's see, he needs 1, 2, 3, 4. He needs to get both KOs back. So Nihai might do that. Nihai might want to score maybe on turn 7 or, you know, even turn 8. Just to see if he can take this loony out of the game. That's a great point. Can stall instead. Not so much a half cage, but still pretty secure here. Turn 6 now for Pity the Ghoul. Pity the Ghoul's down 4 players. If they have to field as many as they can up to 11, so that means that 4 players need to come back on the pitch. They have 3 in reserve. They have 2 that have been knocked out. If they don't get back both knocked out players, then Hack has to come back onto the pitch in the next drive. And if he does, remember, he's a secret weapon, which means he'll be out of the game after that drive. The Ghoul really considering his options here. He's got to weigh up. Does he try to go after this ball and just YOLO it? Or does he try to save his team here? I'd probably err on the side of saving the team, but he is going to go. He's playing to win. 1 die blitz. Gets the pow on Robin Roundcap. Where's the ball going to scatter? 2 good dodges. Ball scatters. Ball's free to the right of Macgyver. Can't really move unless he GFIs. Took the 1 die blitz, 2 dodges to take it. Got the POW. Well done. He's trying to stop this score. 33 seconds left for Pity the Ghoul now. Everybody marked. 1 reroll remaining in the half. What do you do? What do? You've spent your blitz. 2 die block. Gets a knockdown on Cantankerous. Probably follows up. Gets an injury. Wow! Are the tides turning? 3-man player advantage for Nihai to Nuffle now instead of 4. The Oppo gets spent. Cantankerous is saved. But now the Apothecary is gone for Nihai to Nuffle. Good block. Good block. SPV said, are the tides turning? He's now down only 3. Hey. Hey. Thank you for the bits. Turn 7 back to Nihai to Nuffle. All right. They've got to take out Macgyver before they go after this ball. Who do they go after the ball with, though, is the question. It's raining. It's going to be tough to pick this ball up. Remember, Macgyver's really tough to take down. Macgyver has block and dodge. Only a POW will knock down Macgyver. 2 die block against 2D gets the POW. 2D at mid-pitch here. Gets knocked down, doesn't break armor. Nihai to Nuffle's left 1 reroll on the table. Has 3 left. Turn 7. SB Beaver says a push is all he needs and some stubby dwarven hands. I mean, the dwarf, nobody's in position. He'll have to take the block with, I guess, the Minotaur, yeah? 2 die block with Boulder Dash, the number 2 Bull Centaur. It's going to knock down Riker. Riker, the last remaining werewolf. The last remaining werewolf in the league. 50 seconds ago in turn 7 for Nihai to Nuffle. It's going to take the blitz. He's going to take the blitz with the other Bull Centaur. He's two GFIs. Gets a push. Boy. 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 Pushes Macgyver into the corner of the pitch. Tries to pick the ball up. Failed to pick up. He's going to spend the reroll here. It's a pickup on a 5+ due to the rain. The ball's going to scatter back. That blitz was a great call by Dead Fred, I think. Turn 7 now for Pity the Ghoul. Turn 7, Macgyver in a little bit of trouble here, but he might be able to get out of it. We'll see. We'll see. He has a reroll. I think at this point, saving Macgyver is the play, right? He can take the 1 die against Boulder Dash. Terrorwind to use like, doesn't Macgyver always get out of trouble? You know what? Touche. You're absolutely right. Macgyver over there, he's packing some paper clips and some rubber bands. He's gonna score this turn. He's got this. He's gonna parachute out of the sky somehow. I don't know how, but he's gonna pull it off. Stands up. Riker the werewolf gets a mark on the ball. Beaver says he's gonna ride the Centaur to victory. Oh man, that would be beautiful. he lands on top of the Bull Centaur and just rides it down pitch. 2 die blitz, double skulls. He's gonna spend the reroll here. Gets a push on Boulder Dash. Pushes Boulder Dash to the sideline. Every time I say Boulder Dash, I'm like, oh, I'm pronouncing Balderdash wrong. But no, his name is Boulder Dash. SB Beaver, thank you so much for the gift sub. I really, really appreciate it. Very generous of you. Thank you. Oh, an hour of sleep. I can't even imagine an hour of sleep. I mean, I guess I can imagine it since I've done it. We've all done it. But, oh, that's rough. That's super rough. $18 seconds. That's it. Turn 8. Final turn of the first half here. Knee-high to Nuffle. Needs to try. Oh, we're Shell Cat. I didn't see you were leaving. Thank you so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you back here for some later matches. Feel free to compete with us in Season 3. That'll be starting up probably in a few months. Have a good night. Thanks for coming out. Knee-high to Nuffle. They have a reroll left. But man, picking up this ball is going to be... Ugh. It's gonna be a thing. They get the POW on the greatest American hero. Takes the blitz, 2 die blitz on the werewolf. Knocks down Riker, well done. Looks like it's going to be 1 GFI to try to score with Robin Roundcap. I think that's the correct play. He has an AG of 3. Good pickup. There it is. 1-0. Knee-high to Nuffle. Takes the lead in this game. And now, Dead Fred needs to hope he gets back both KOs. Believe it or not, he's lying on grass. He never thought he could feel so free. All right, let's see what happens with these KOs here. Oh no! Pity the Ghoul's only going to pick up 1 knocked out player. That means the Looney has to take to the pitch. And that means he's going to be out here for just a single turn. How unfortunate. Pity the Ghoul. Great drive by Knee-High to Nuffle. Knee-High to Nuffle is going to put 3 on the line. Everybody else is going to be safe in the backfield. He wants to keep as many players away from that loony as possible. Not so trusty Patches says better foul with the chainsaw then. I think that's a fair point. The weather could change here. Changing weather is the most common kickoff table event. We'll just call that a kickoff event. It's the most common kickoff event. Hank the Ranger says riot. Could be a riot. If it's a riot, we get an extra turn. We'll see if Pity the Ghoul is going to set up to try to play the riot. And Not So Trusty Patches is looking for the free bribe. 3-man defensive line for Knee-High to Nuffle, as expected. 5-man offensive line for Pity the Ghoul. Looks like they're going to have no chance to score here unless there's a riot. They have 1 werewolf left on the team. Star players out. Seven-man line. He is going to put him on the line. Why not? Needs 1 back to receive if he's going to try to play the riot. 8-man line now. 9-man line. Has a halfback and has 2 halfbacks, really. Nobody back to receive. All right. He's going to play murder ball. Pity the Ghoul has to be a little careful here. They have no rerolls. Oh, he does have Macgyver back to receive. All right, he is going to try to play. He's going to try to play for the ride if he gets it. Otherwise, he's just going to try to put the hurt on here. Here's the kick. Knee-High to Nuffle does not have a kicker. Oh boy, it is a riot. Pity the Ghoul with a chance to score. If they can score, they're going to be on offense in the second half of the game. It's going to put them in great position to try to win this one. Again, action order is going to be paramount here. They have no rerolls remaining. As SP Beaver points out, indeed, that's an extra turn for the Looney. 2 turns now for the Looney to try to take some players off the pitch. Even though Pity the Ghoul's had a rough first drive of the game, they are by no means out of this game. They're going to be on offense in the second half of the game. Whether they score here or not, they can still pull this out. Perhaps most importantly, they were down a whole bunch of players. They were down 4 players in that first drive. But they had a heavy roster. They came back. They now have a full 11 players on the pitch. So they're by no means out of this game. The rain's going to make the passing game pretty difficult here for Pity the Ghoul. As you can see, you get a -1 modifier to all the catchy sort of things. Catch, intercept, and pickup rolls. Sending players down pitch. It looks like he's setting up to move this ball into the pocket over here in the right wide zone, maybe around the 4-yard line. 2-die block at the line gets a push. Hank the Ranger says, I still have a little Nuffledamus left in me. 30 seconds left in turn now 7. The 8th turn of the game. Might be trying to hand off to Riker. Can he get there? He can get there with GFIs. It's a push. Still has a block or perhaps a blitz with Hack. Maybe even a foul. If Hack's only going to be out here for a couple of turns, he won't foul this turn. Blitz still on the table. He is moving the greatest American hero. Flying down pitch to Mark Jubilant, the number 4 Kastorf blocker. Taking lots of marks here. Trying to give himself the best chance he can. But he's going to fail the pickup. The 50-50 pickup failed. That'll be a turnover. Didn't get to leverage Hack. Now remember, Hack, when he blocks, he doesn't have to roll block dice. He gets a +3 on the armor break. But your opponent, while he does have to roll block dice, will also get that +3. 2-die block gets the push on Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers could very well stand firm if he chooses to. Oh, that's gross. I'm glad you caught that. Jarwin Hughes says GFI. Maybe. Looks like he's going to try to get the 2-die on Greatest American Hero. Takes a mark against 2D. He wants to stop this run, no matter how unlikely it is. Is he even in scoring position? He is. He's in scoring position with Riker. So no matter how unlikely it is, he wants to stop that score. A score would be devastating for Knee-High to Nuffle. He's going to blitz. 2-die blitz on 2D. He's going to get the knockdown. He'll follow up. Yes, indeed. Now he's marking Riker over in the right wide zone. He has no choice but to pass the ball at this point. Hank the Rage says, can the Whites score? They are in scoring position, yes. Uninsurable moves over to the right side of the pitch. 2-die block on the Greatest American Hero is only going to be a push. Still in scoring position. It's now 2 GFIs instead of 1. SPV says it's going to be a 5-space pass. Is that long? It depends on if it's straight, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. No, it would be a short pass. If it's diagonal, it would be, I think it's still a short pass. Another push, this time on Roscoe Peakaltrade, the number 3 White. Both Whites still in scoring position. It's going to be very, very difficult. They'd have to move forward with every movement. Number 3 could certainly do it with 2 dodges. Or perhaps like a YOLO blitz. Oh no, he couldn't do it with the blitz. The blitz wouldn't give him enough movement to get into the end zone. Final turn of the first half now. The Looney. Was that a foul? Wow. SPV said, oh yeah, if he followed up on the blitz, you're absolutely right. If you follow up on the blitz, he'd be able to do it, for sure. But if it was like a... Yeah, you're right. It was a block. Good. That was very scary. I was like, why are you leading with a foul? Takes the block with hack. Didn't get anything out of it. 2-die block gets a push. Who's going to be the ball carrier here? I think it might have to be Roscoe Pickle Train, right? I think he's your best bet at this point. Takes a 2-die block with Mr. T, gets the knockdown against Briar Rose. He's looking for injuries here. He's looking for casualties. Moves Dan Fielding down pitch. Doesn't do a whole lot. He's going to take a mark against Uninsurable. I think it's got to be a pass to number 3. I think that's the only real viable option here. Pity the Ghoul deciding whether he wants to take blocks or whether he wants to go for this TD. It's very risky with no rerolls remaining. He's going to take the blitz first. He gets the 1-die blitz against Uninsurable. That's not going to be enough. He's not going to be able to score. The block skill, got both down result. The block skill and Uninsurable is going to keep him standing. That's going to be the end of the first half. 1-0. Knee-high Nuffle in the lead. Pity the Ghoul. Going to be on offense here in the second half. They're going to have a full 11-man roster. They might get back one more player here. They do indeed. 12 players on the roster now. 11v11 on the pitch here in the second half of the game. Maybe the Ghoul's going to get their opportunity up at... I'm sorry, it's going to be 11v11 on the pitch because they just lost Hack. It's always going to be 11v11. It's going to be an 11-man roster. I'll figure this out. So nobody left on the bench for Pity the Ghoul, but 11 players on the pitch is great, right? I mean, you need to have it, especially against this team here. Nobody's really particularly fragile on this Necro team, except, of course, for Macgyver, but it's tough to knock Macgyver down in the first place. To get the 2-die, you need to get a strength of 5, and then you've got to get the POW. He had enough of setting up their defense here. 3-man defensive line, well, 5-man line with 2 ends. Lots of linebackers. 1 safety. 3 linebackers. He has 2 corners in either wide zone. They're both the Bull Centaurs, naturally. Pulling the safety up to the line. Pulls the middle linebacker forward. Pulls the right outer linebacker back a space. Both outer linebackers move back a space. And that will be the formation for Knee-High to Nuffle. Pity the Ghoul to set up their offense here. SP Beaver asking for the event prediction. Remember, because this is a playoff game, there are no draws. If this game ends in a draw, or rather, if this half ends in a draw, we're going to overtime. Overtime is another full half, complete with a coin toss, but crucially, you do not get back your rerolls. Whatever rerolls you have at the end of the second half, those are what you carry over into overtime, and it is sudden death. The first team to score will win the game. It's another full 8 turns. The Ranger predicts that the weather will change to nice because it's the worst outcome. Wouldn't be a bad outcome for Pity the Ghoul. It would bring their passing game back into being a threat here. We'll see if that prediction is correct. Not so trusty Patches predicts snow. Snow's fun. Blizzard's fun. It makes GFIs fail on a 1 or a 2 rather than a 1. Strong line here for Pity the Ghoul. 9-player line. Macgyver back to receive. Dan fielding in the left wide zone. Again, Knee-High to Nuffle does not have a kicker, so they can't place this kick very accurately. If they want to avoid the touchback, they're just going to kick dead center, and the ball will land wherever it lands. Five seconds left to set up the offense here. Looks like we're going to go with the 9-man line, excuse me. Here it is. And now the kick. Perfect defense. Knee-High gets to reset their defense. Knee-High. An opportunity here to reset if they wish to. They probably wish to. Knee-High's going to get a full 2 minutes here to decide how they want to reset their defense. They can reset it into any legal defense they want. So it's as if they're setting up their defense for the first time again, except this time they get to see how the offense is set up and react to it. Knee-High selecting to go base to base. They have an 8-man split line currently. Ooh. Strong on the right with 7 players. Tailwind to use. I'm really digging the rain noise. I have it at low volume so it doesn't echo through the mic, but I like it too. Knee-High going with 1 safety, and they're putting everybody else on the line. 10 players on the line now for Knee-High to Nuffle. 2 in the left wide zone, 2 in the right. Fairly shallow kick. That is fine by Pity the Ghoul. Turn number 9 now. Dead Fred considering his options once again. All things considered, he's in pretty good shape here to try to score on this half. Needs to be careful. Doesn't have any players left in reserve. Takes a mark in the left wide zone. Two-die block of the line, gets a push. This is over on the right side of the line. Takes the push against Cantankerous, the number 7 Chaos Dwarf blocker. And not so trusty Patches says, what a commitment to carnage. Man, they're going base to base. They say, come at me, bro. Come at me. Come at me. You think I'm afraid of you? I'm not afraid of you. Who are you? This is my pitch. Get out of here. What are you, like 3 feet tall? Get out of here. I'm a giant flesh golem. Get out of here. Two-die block gets the knockdown against Briar Rose. These massive bull centaurs towering over Mayhem. Mayhem looks terrified in this matchup, as he should be. This is my pitch. What did you think I said? Oh no! Spent the 1-die block. Got the skull, spent the reroll, got a skull again. Just like that, it's a turnover. Lots of blocks for Knee-High to Nuffle to take. Ball sitting loose on the 8-yard line. Not so trusty Fatches says, "Oh, hubris." Yeah, I don't know if I would have taken. I don't know if I would have taken the 1-die block there before picking up the ball. Honestly, I don't know if I would have had all these players on the line, but fair enough. I'm also not in the semifinals. Yeah, that is a ton of guard. They're all lending assists. Guard, typically when you block, it's your strength versus the opponent's strength. If you have a friendly player that is not in an opponent's tackle zone, that is in the tackle zone with the player you're blocking, you get an assist with that player, and he'll give you +1 strength usually. And the same for the defender. But if you are in an opposing tackle zone, you don't get that assist. Block gives you that assist no matter what. So the Chorf team here has a ton of block, and they're always getting that assist, which means they're always getting those 2-die blocks, which makes them just super, super bashy. 2-die block over on the left side of the line. Gets a knockdown against Mr. T. Mr. T is going to stand firm. .49 seconds left in turn number 9. Knee-High to Nuffle. They could take 1 block. They could take a blitz here. Lots of options here. 2-die block. They're going to get a push. Oh, he's going to take the post-standing result. Fair enough. Blitz still on the table. Where is he going to blitz? He has the Minotaur. I have to imagine. No, it's going to be the 2-die blitz with Cantankerous. He's going to get the knockdown against Punky Brewster. Punky, no. Oh, Punky's resilient. Punky's resilient. Asteria and the Minotaur fails the wild animal roll, rolls a 1. He's not going to take that block. The greatest American hero, too intimidating to this Minotaur. Punky is pretty punky. She is the punkiest of anyone on the pitch. Pulls in the assist over in the left wide zone to get the 2-die block, gets the knockdown. Turn 10 now for Pity the Ghoul. Everybody marked except for Macgyver. Pitch. 40 seconds have gone by here in turn number 10. Pity the Ghoul. Trying to decide if they can reset here, and if not, what do they do? Where do they go with the ball? SPB praise to Nuffle. Pray to Nuffle, that's what they do. Well, he's got Riker. SP Beaver cheering for the offense. Thank you for the bits. He's got Riker. He'd probably get away with a dodge. Maybe he shifts to one. I don't know. I don't know what he does. It's a tough call. Hank the Ranger says the Ground's having a solid game here the past few turns. Not so trusty patches. Pop Filter is working overtime with Punky pushing across the pitch. 2-die blitz here with the werewolf. Gets the 2-die follow-up after the push. 2 pushes. That werewolf's going to push across the line of scrimmage. She does sell seashells. She does sell seashells. Who was it? Was it Hank the Ranger? who had the tongue twister team? Failed the 50-50 pickup again here. Knee-high to Nuffle, turn 10. Oh boy, knee-high to Nuffle in pretty good shape here on defense. 2-die block against Riker. They're going to get the knockdown. Still 11v11 on the pitch. Two-die block gets a push here. Two-die block again, this time uninsurable against Mr. T. He's going to get the knockdown. Is Mr. T going to stand firm? No, he says, push me back. Keep my formation intact, please. Thank you very much. Uninsurable is going to stay put. Two-die block. He's going to lend the assist here for this block. Gets another push. This time on Mayhem. That's what it was. Irish wristwatch. Yes, indeed. Two-die block. All those clicks you hear, that's guard triggering over and over and over again. Two-die block gets the knockdown on the greatest American hero, breaks armor, gets a KO. Well done. One-man player advantage for knee-high to Nuffle. They're taking out all of these positionals. Doing a great job here. Two-die block. Two to guard. Breaks armor again. Gets a stun. Terror into you. Cheering for knee-high to Nuffle. They're doing an excellent job here. Two-die to block? Two-die block gets a push against Cliff Clavin. Now the Hobgoblin's going to move toward the ball. Is he going to try for the pickup? No, didn't want a GFI. Didn't want a GFI. Blitz with the Minotaur. Three-die blitz against Cliff Clavin. Gets the POW. He has Claw and Mighty Blow. Doesn't break armor. Blitz off the table. Looks like that'll be it for the turn. Indeed. Turn 11 now for Pity the Ghoul. Macgyver marked. Anywhere towards the ball, it's going to be a -2 dodge. Well, that's not true. He could go to the ball for a -1 dodge. He can move this way. In fact, they're all -1. There's 2 spaces here, not 1, dummy. Pity the Ghoul. What do you do? What do you do at this point? What do you do? What do you do? I don't think I know what to do. That's why I'm not in the Blood Bowl. SP Beaver makes a good point. It is a 1-die block on the Minotaur right now. Remember, Macgyver has a strength of 4. He's getting the assist here with Cliff Clavin. It's a 1-die against the Minotaur, but boy, Boy, do you want to start the turn off with that? Tara into you says you're not in the bowl because you commentate your own games. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a fun game regardless, right? I love this game, man. So much helping. Blitz with the werewolf is gonna get the knockdown. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's gonna get the knockdown with Robin Roundcap. I just assumed he had dodge. He doesn't. Gets a KO. That's a great KO for Pity the Ghoul. They're gonna get that Hobgoblin off the pitch, but more importantly, that's a AG3 player that is now off the pitch. Knee-High to Nuffle does not have a lot of those. He has one more, in fact, and that's the Hobgoblin in the left wide zone. Then he moves the werewolf over to perhaps lend an assist for a 2-die against the werewolf, against the Minotaur, and that works out to the block skill. Well done. Well done by Pity the Ghoul. Takes a 2-die with Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, normally a peaceful fellow, but he is gonna knock Roast down to the ground. Not so trusty Patches says, I'm sad the Minotaur survived. We're all a little sad when a Minotaur survives. Turn 11 for Knee-High to Nuffle. 2-die block. See a bunch of these. Gets a push. And will no doubt follow up here. Yeah, because he has the guard skill. He's going to lend an assist for another 2-die against Mayhem. SP Beaver says, I'm shocked it did. Of what I know of Minotaur armor, I'm shocked it did. Marks Mr. Rogers. It's a 2-die block. It's a knockdown against Tootie. This is going to free up Boulder Dash. He probably will not see a stand-up blitz by the Minotaur. It'd be an uphill blitz. Well, it won't be anymore. All right, looks like he is going to set up for the stand-up blitz. 2-die block against Mr. T. Gets a both standing result. Mr. T is going to stand firm. Not so trusty Patch says a 2D 2-die again. 2-die block against Mr. T. One more time is going to knock him down. Breaks armor here. Gets a stun. We'll see if he can capitalize on this stun. Well done. Uninsurable is going to move toward the ball. He marks number 3, Roscoe Pico Train. Fails his wild animal roll. Oh, that's a crucial failure. Failed on the 1. Oh my goodness! Failed the 1. Decided to re-roll it. Got through the loner roll. Failed wild animal. Remember, he's a loner. Decided to spend the re-roll. Got through the loner roll. Got the knockdown on the werewolf, and now he's marking the ball. Wow. Nuffle is kind. Turn 12 now for Pity the Ghoul. Final turn. The 3rd quarter. J.R. Wilkes says, always push on the ball. Always. Dan Fielding, the number 11 zombie, moves out of the left wide zone. It's going to move back toward the ball. Petey the Ghoul's offense is in a bit of disarray here, but so is the defense. If he can just get the ball and get free for one turn, if he can open a lane for one turn, he could run away with it and score. That's right. He's not forward yet. He's got 2.5 games left still. 45 seconds left for Petey the Ghoul. Really trying to weigh up his options. This is going to be a critical turn for him. If he can't do something with this turn, then Knee-High to Nuffle is going to bear down on him and perhaps even pick the ball up on next turn. Two-die block gets a POW against Briar Rose. Way back at the line of scrimmage. Mark's jubilant with Tootie. Tootie crosses the line of scrimmage just in front of the ball. Stands up the werewolf. Is he not going to pick up the ball? Well, he doesn't want that dodge to occur. Two-die block against Boulder Dash. We get a push. What's the play here? What's the play here? That's it. That's the turn. Turn 12 now to Knee-High to Nuffle. Two-die block against poor Mayhem. This time he's going to get knocked down. Oh, and he's injured. He's injured thanks to Mighty Blow. He's off the pitch. Succeeds on the regen, though. He's going to go back into the reserve box. Well done. Our teams do not have an apothecary. They have a necromancer. Most of their players have regen. That means if they suffer an injury, they have a 50-50 chance of regenerating and just not suffering that injury. Our last remaining Hobgoblin is going to take a mark on Dan Fielding. Two-die block against Roscoe Pico Train. It's going to be a knockdown by Uninsurable. Uninsurable will advance. Mark the ball. He's got Macgyver to worry about. He's got Riker to worry about. Gets another mark on the ball with Gesundheit. SP Beaver says, do the ghouls also have yeah, not so trusty matches is correct. The ghouls do not have regen. In fact, you could see that if I would if I would make sure the overlay is correct. Two-die block. Thanks to guard. He's going to get the knockdown here against Tootie yet again. She's going to stay on the pitch. Under a minute to play here in the third quarter. Another knockdown, this time against Cliff Clavin. Gets a two-die block with Cantankerous against Punky Brewster. Gets the POW. He's looking for this 9+ here. Doesn't get it. That's fine. She's effectively out for a turn. She only has an MEF 4. It's going to cost 3 to stand up. SB Beaver says Clapius is very generous to guard the ball for Petey the Ghoul. Yeah, this was the fear here with the previous turn, right? So 3-die block against Riker is going to get the knockdown here. Was that if this ball didn't move, if Petey the Ghoul was not able to move this ball, then Knee-High to Nuffle was going to be able to kind of descend upon this ball here and pick it up next turn. Yeah, I don't think he wants to pick it up this turn. Turn 13, fourth and perhaps final quarter of this game. Pity the Ghoul with 4 turns to try to tie this game up. The ball marked by 3 opposing players. Lots of his own team knocked down on the pitch, lying prone. What can Pity the Ghoul do to try to get this ball free? SP Beaver says a few 6s will solve all his problems. It's very true. It's very true. And I will point out that rolling a 6 is not as improbable as it seems. It's improbable, but it's not as improbable as it seems. Case in point, everyone thinks GFIs will never happen. They always happen. 1 in 6 is not... People think 1 in 6 is equal to 0. It's not. 2-die block with Riker has... Oh, no. Oh, that is so on... 2-die stand-up blitz with the werewolf. Quad skulls is going to end the turn. And with that, perhaps the game. We'll see if Knee-High and Nuffle can pick this ball up. They still got to pick the ball up. SP Beaver says, I blame you for the GFI comment. It cursed is nice. Not that improbable. Although, to be fair, on Block Dice, there's more than one face that has a skull on it. You have a skull and you have both down the goal. Terrawindy says, if you want to know why I don't play, it's because I have dice rolling skills like this. Well, good news. You'd be in great company. Let me tell you tales of rolling skulls. Not so trusty Patch says Nuffle's playing favorite. No, he's not. Just look at the names of the team. Knee-High to Nuffle. Obviously, Clypheus bends the knee to Nuffle. Nuffle recognizes his loyalty. It's not about playing favorites. It's about who's doing what they should be doing. Minotaur's about to break armor. Macgyver's only going to be stunned. He's going to stay on the pitch. But that's a great stun for Knee-High to Nuffle. Tries to pick the ball up with Uninsurable. Oh, the audacity, and it succeeds. The audacity. That was a 5+ pickup, worked out on the 6. Why? Because 6s are not that improbable. Uninsurable is going to trample down the pitch, and he's going to GFI. Is he going to try to score? That's 2 GFIs. Looks like he's going to. 3 GFIs, 2-0. Knee-High to Nuffle increases their lead. Well done. SP Beaver says, okay, note to self, name next team after Nuffle. You can't, it's not just the name, you've got to practice. That's right. Show the proper reverence, show respect. Fun fact, in the new rules of Blood Bowl in BB 2020, there's a prayers to Nuffle table that you can actually roll against. 2-0, 3 turns remaining in this game. Pity the Ghoul is going to get another opportunity to try to score here. They're not out, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. They're down 2 TDs with just 3 turns remaining. They're also down a player. They're going to have a one-man player disadvantage against Knee-High to Nuffle. Yeah, excellent. There you go. There you go. I'm going to name my next team after the great Nuffle. Nuffle the kind, Nuffle the wise. Knee-High to Nuffle with a one-man player advantage, 2 TD lead. They're putting everybody on the line, which I find rather interesting. So while Pity the Ghoul is you know, they're not technically out of it. It's a real long shot at this point. You would think Knee-High and Nuffle might want to protect some of these players for the finals. Maybe put them back in the backfield and say, you know what? Move the ball up pitch. What do I care? What do I care? But no, he's going to put everybody on the line here. Here you go, SP Beaver. That's right. Pray to Nuffle. Taro into you says, yeah, capitalized N, extra ump. That's right. That's right. Extra nump. That's what it is. Not so trusty patches. Praying for Snake Eyes. 1 minute to set up this offense here for Pity the Ghoul. Not looking good. Not looking good, but we've seen bigger comebacks before in the league. Places the werewolf in the left wide zone. If he can get this ball down pitch, he's gonna. He has to. If there's a riot, there's a chance we get an extra turn. But there's also a chance we lose a turn. I don't know what Pity the Ghoul wants more on the kickoff event table. Do they want an extra reroll? Do they want the weather to change? Do they want... what do you want? What do you want on this kickoff event table? 3 seconds to remain. Do you want the riot and just hope it goes in your way? Goes to your favor? Cheering fans. That's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. That's the fame advantage at play. Knee-High to Nuffle's going to get an extra reroll. They have one for every remaining turn of this game. Pity the Ghoul with just one left. SP Beaver says we're making Clivey speed us all with halflings next season, right? I mean, I'm telling you, man, I don't think halflings aren't great, but I don't think they're as bad as they're made out to be. I think they're, you know, you can fling a fling, right? It's terrible to use this. Pretty sure PTG will have PTSD years rain going forward. It's like a rainy day at work and he can't do it. He's like, I'm calling out today. I just can't. Every time a lightning bolt strikes, he's like, Macgyver, no! Macgyver, oh god! The skies get dark. He's like, do you hear that? His co-worker's like, what? I think they're hooves. You don't hear the hooves? They're marching, they're trampling, they're coming here. Good pickup by Macgyver. He needed that pickup. He's gonna move it down pitch. He's gonna go for the handoff. It looks like he is. Failed the handoff. He's gonna spin the reroll here. He has to. 75% on this handoff. Failed the handoff, and it's gonna scatter out of bounds. Where's it gonna go? Failed the handoff. Ball scattered out of bounds. But that's all right. Never fear. Punky is here. Punky with her massive movement allowance of 4. Let's go, Punky. Punky can still pass. But to who? Oh boy, what a series of events for Pity the Ghoul. 9 seconds left in the turn. They have no rerolls left for the game. Yeah, might as well send Riker down pitch. You've got to score. Takes the uphill block with Punky. This is not bad. He's going to get a push out of it. Punky's going to stay put. That's it. Turn 14 for Knee-High to Nuffle. We'll see if Punky Brewster can stay on her feet. Two-die block, double skulls. Has to re-roll it, gets the knockdown. Oh, it got exciting there for a second. Knocks down Punky Brewster. The ball's going to scatter in Dead Fred's favor here. Pity the Ghoul stays near the ball. They have a mark with Roscoe Pico Train. Two-die block. Gets a knockdown on Mr. T. He'll stand firm. Honestly, better the ball's in the hands of Roscoe Pico Train than Punky. Roscoe has the block skill. Two-die block gets a pow on Tootie. SP Beaver says, hey, there's still time for a Minotaur score. Another two-die block. This time it's going to be a push against Mayhem. Mayhem is the player that just will not go home. Mayhem formerly played for Genus Chaos, was killed, and brought back from the dead to play for Pity the Ghoul, and just will not die. He will undie, but he will not die. Blitz, three-die blitz on Mayhem's gonna get knocked down. What's up, Ninja Jalopy? Welcome to the stream. Sends John Romita Jr. over to the ball. 4 marks on the ball now. Two-die block gets the knockdown due to the block skill. Over on the left side of the pitch. Is he going to take the one die against Mr. Rogers? He can make it a two-die if he wants. Probably doesn't want to, though. SP Beaver with another gift sub. Thank you so very much. Very kind. Thank you. Turn 15 now for Pity the Ghoul. Oh, boy. They've got the score here if they have even the remotest chance. We'll see if they can make it happen. It would be super hype if they do, but oh, boy. If anyone needs to pray to Nuffle now, it's Pity the Ghoul and Dead Fred. No re-rolls remaining. They would really want to score right here, then hope for a riot and get 2 turns. Because they're not going to get the ball back, right? So, or they're not going to get the ball back. They're going to be on defense on the next drive. So, boy, boy, what a tough series of events it's going to be here for Pity the Ghoul. We'll see if they can make it happen. I think he's looking for a way to make this pick up a little safer. I really don't see it. I think he's just going to have to put his fate in the hands of Nuffle here. Moves Cliff Clavin over to mark the ball. "49 seconds left. Got to do something here. Got to go after this ball, and he's got to try to score. "29 seconds left. He's running out of time. He's trying to figure out if he can make this ball pick up any safer. I just don't think he can. Oh boy, he's going to take a 2-die blitz against Uninsurable. He's going to get the POW here. Looking for a 10 plus. He won't follow up. Has some movement with Macgyver remaining. Moves Macgyver down pitch. Looks like he might try to throw it to Macgyver. Hand off to Riker. 13 seconds to go. Uphill block. Gets a push onto the ball. Roscoe P. Coltrane with the uphill block against the Minotaur. The drive's going to stay alive. Where's the ball going to scatter? It scatters forward. It scatters forward. Now what? Punky Brewster has to stand up and pick up this ball and pass. Punky, can you do it? Punky, no! Punky, no! But the ball scatters into the hands of Roscoe P. Coltrane at least. Turn 15 now for Knee-High to Nuffle. Doesn't look like it's going to happen here for Pity the Ghoul. Had a great run this season. Again, he is the Dungeon Bowl champion, won the Dungeon Bowl undefeated. He will not be out. Well, he'll be out. Like, he's not going to be able to win, of course. But he'll have one more game after this if he loses. He'll be able to play the consolation match against the current league champion, Nick Satan, and his Reptile Dysfunction team. That will be for third place. That will be the next game in the competition. Two-die block. All that guard being put to work. Gets the POW against Tootie. One minute, 35 seconds left in turn 15 of the semifinal matchup. Yeah, our final two matches of the season are going to be lizard matches, in fact. 3-die block against Cliff Clavin is going to be a knockdown. We'll see if Knee-High to Nuffle can pick this ball up. If he can, he will win this game 3-0, more than likely. Blitz still on the table. Still has 2 rerolls. He's going to blitz Dan Fielding. He gets the knockdown, gets the POW. Breaks armor, gets a KO. Well done. Moves an uninsurable over to get an assist. But failed the Dauntless roll. Didn't need it anyway. 2-die block. Gets the knockdown on Mr. Rogers. He's going to stand firm and stay put. 1 minute left in turn 15. Good ball pickup with sure hands. Robin Roundcap is going to run down pitch. He'll be protected by John Romita Jr. GFIs. Oh, boy. Boy. Look at the gall on this guy. John Romita Jr. comes in to exert some tackle zones here and to protect the ball carrier. That might be it, unless he wants... Yeah. Turn 16 now for Pity the Ghoul. Really not a whole lot of hope here. At this point, they would have to blitz and then pick up the ball and then throw it to then somehow... Yeah, they can't do it because you get one throw, one handoff. There's no way they could do it. So that's going to be it. Unfortunately, Pity the Ghoul will be eliminated, but they had a great great run here. Again, their Dungeon Bowl run was absolutely phenomenal. And they'll be up against a Reptile Dysfunction in the consolation match here in the Dungeon Bowl. He's going to try to put some hurt on for the rest of the teams. He's going to do his duty as a competitor here. Stuns Bashful, who's looking for more. Yeah, Not So Trusty Patch says he can still kill the Minotaur. He can still kill a bunch of people. And he's going for it here. You can see he's taking these blocks. Rough day for Pity the Ghoul here today. It started bad with the rain. The rain affects Pity the Ghoul. Really does not affect Knee-High to Nuffle. They are not a passing team, and it's been rainy all game long, and it just went downhill from there. First drive, Pity the Ghoul will be down 4 players, and the die rolls just weren't great. But you know, Knee-High to Nuffle played an excellent game. Both of these coaches are excellent coaches. They're both here in the Blood Bowl. They both made it to the semifinals of the Blood Bowl, and they deserve to be here. They've played a really good season. It's really great to watch these two teams face off against each other. Yeah, that's right. The loss of both star players, lost the Werewolf, lost the Looney on a 1-turn drive. Turn 16 now for Knee-High to Nuffle. Final turn of the game. He's going to take blocks first. He's looking to try to get some SVP on blocks. I would score. Get the SVP on the touchdown. Oh my goodness. 3-die block. He's going to get a knockdown on Cliff Clavin. Is this going to be another game that ends where Knee-High to Nuffle doesn't get into the end zone? He's going to get a 2-die here against someone. No, he's not. He doesn't have guard on Jubilant. Now he gets the 2-die with the assist from John Romita Jr. Gets the knockdown on Mayhem, but Mayhem will not be taken down. You should have learned Mayhem was killed and survived. Are you kidding me? You can't take him out. A fool you are. 2-die block against Mr. Rogers, doesn't get anything out of it. Still has his blitz if he wants to take it. One minute, 9 seconds at most left in this semifinal match. Knee-High to Nuffle. Probably talking with Dead Fred over Discord. They're probably congratulating each other. Again, a really good game. I have to imagine Knee-High to Nuffle's going to try to score here. Oh, it looks like he's going to GG foul first. Oh no, he might blitz Tootie. That's probably the better play. I mean, that definitely is the better play. Yeah, here comes the blitz. 3-die blitz on Tootie. Gets a push, but he'll get a frenzy follow-up here. Good possessioning for the frenzy. He's going to get the knockdown here. Looking to get some SPP. He might get it. Doesn't get it. Only gets a stun. Surely this ends in a touchdown. Here it is. 3-0 is going to be the final here. Knee-High to Nuffle cleans this one up. Tidy game. They're going to advance to the Blood Bowl finals. Congratulations to Clypeus and Knee-High to Nuffle here. Well done, well played. The beautiful, the gorgeous Knee-High to Nuffle cheerleaders. Rain or shine, they're out there supporting their team. And there it is, 3-0. Mr. T, the final MVP for Pity the Ghoul. Cantankerous takes MVP for Knee-High to Nuffle. Pity the Ghoul is going to end their season with 7 SPP here in this final game. Knee-High to Nuffle is picking up 17, 18, 19, 20 SPP in this matchup. Oh, disgusting. I feel sorry for PPFC. We'll take a look at the bracket, which I'm already noticing is incorrect, but we'll look at it anyway. Knee-High to Nuffle is going to advance to the finals, not against the Reptile Dysfunction, but against PPFC. PPFC is in the finals, where Reptile Dysfunction will be playing Pity the Ghoul in the consolation match. And those are about to be scheduled as soon as tomorrow. When those games get scheduled, you'll be able to check out the schedule here on Twitch, and you can check them out on our Twitter and our Facebook accounts. You can find the information for that right there on your screen. SPU said, how many versions of the chart did you make? I did the whole thing. I did the whole thing. Play Blood Ghoul? Play Blood Ghoul. I mean, play Blood Ghoul, it sounds great, but also play Blood Bowl. It's a fantastic game. What a fun game this is, right? We've seen chainsaws, we've seen werewolves, we've seen bull centaurs. We saw Punky Brewster. When's the last time you saw Punky Brewster take to the sporting pitch? Ah, what a fun game this is. I had a blast. I hope you did too. I absolutely love this game. There are 2 games left in this season. After that, we'll probably take a break for a month or 2. I don't know. However long. But feel free to come play with us. We have 3 open competitions in the season. The 4th is the Invitational. That's the championship. Everyone's invited to play, whether you're new or veteran alike. We just absolutely love this game. We'd love to play with you. Every coach we have, everybody we have that participates in the league, from coaches to co-commentators to co-hosts on the podcast, to viewers. Everybody's fun and friendly and eager to help teach and play and just have a bunch of fun in this game. It's just such a rad game, and we want to share it with everyone. So I hope you had fun. I had a blast, and we'll see you here when the consolation match between Erectile Dysfunction and Pity the Ghoul gets scheduled. Until then, enjoy your night, everybody.